Yeah, if you want to, it's lap 5.
Well, let's take it live now, officially. I know a lot of you have been waiting here tonight. Apparently we had some issues with YouTube and not exactly sure what it was. But now that we are officially here on QSR Xfinity Series, let's take a trackside, get some of that action.
Yeah, we're checking it out right now. There you see actually Galen Wunsch right here on the 199. Galen actually got a little bit of a tussle back on lap 5 with the 12th car of Trenton Wilkin. Wilkin actually was the pole sitter. Both of them got a little bit of a tussle over there in the hairpin turn back there, or coming to the start-finish line, Bradley. So I'm not quite sure if there was some heated words that was probably exchanged between that, but I think it was just Galen maybe sending it in just a little bit too hard, and he ended up getting into Wilkin. You check it out, there it is right there. Wilkin ends up going around. I think Galen got to his inside. There was Ziegler. Ziegler was all up in the back bumper of Galen, and then Galen ends up going around like a ping pong ball. There you see everybody else ducking, dodging, trying to get around. There's Morgan Cook. Morgan Cook, a previous I shouldn't say previous announcer, he still does, basically swapping out with you here for the B-Speed Network, but he was able to duck and dodge to get around it. So, wow, that was a real big-time change of events, especially with the front two guys, Trenton Wilkin and Galen Wunsch. Both of those guys started on the front row at the start of this race.
And how about this? We got Quentin Stewart, who started back in the 5th position. He's worked his way into the top 3 as a result of that. He got a little piece of that coming out of that last turn. But he is all over the back bumper of Jared Ziegler. If Ziegler makes a mistake coming through these S's, or at any point, we only have 28 laps in this race here today, and we're already halfway through it. However, a lot of these guys are just banking on someone making a mistake. And Jacob, I know we talked about it pre-race there, and unfortunately a lot of people didn't get to hear about it. As far as road courses go, we're not road racers. I'm not personally. That's hence why the 51's out there tonight. But overall, you have your certain tracks, and this is probably one that Quentin Stewart, he has a good chance here.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a better chance than I would, because I straight up suck at road courses. I'll be honest with you folks. In my personal opinion, I got to say this, because I did talk to Morgan Cook pre-race about this, just me and him. I told him, I said, I have to plug this on the broadcast. In my opinion, I felt like road courses need to just be for the GT cars and the LMP cars, maybe even an Indy car at that point. But, I mean, not necessarily for stock cars, but it does make for some entertaining racing like we just saw a minute ago with Galen Wunsch and Trenton Wilkin. But you see right here, Quentin Stewart getting all up in the back bumper of Ziegler. Ziegler we haven't really seen a lot of this season, to be quite honest with you, Bradley. And that was one thing that I was talking about as well. These road courses, it can turn into, I guess you could say, somewhat like Daytona. And I know a lot of viewers out there are like, what is he talking about? Daytona, you're footing to the floor. Yes, you are. But this is somewhat of a wild card race, because you end up seeing new players at the front of the field. You end up seeing guys that you wouldn't normally see up there. Think back to the old days of NASCAR road ringers, road course ringers, how they used to call them, Bradley. So that's when you start to see these new faces up here at the front of the field. And Ziegler up here with Kevin West, who won last week in a thrilling finish in a last lap, more or less last turn pass. And Charlotte got the win. He's trying to go 2 for 2 right now. He's looking pretty good to be able to pull it off. But Ziegler, I think if he can get Quentin Stewart off his back bumper, he may be able to try to get up here and try to reel in Kevin West.
Well, I think back to, there's a YouTuber, if you guys are not familiar with some of the restorations that are going on with Lake Speed, and I can't remember for the life of me right now, but if you want to go check out some of these guys that were road course ringers back in the day, Mark Martin and Lake Speed, and there's a number of these guys that just put it down, and there were the particular tracks. Watkins Glen, Sonoma come to mind. You can go to when they ran at Suzuka back in the 90s. Oh, car off the racetrack. That's Kevin West. Change for the lead.
Woo-hoo, boy,
Down
Kevin
pit road
West.
now. Ziegler
did not
immediately.
Need that. Oh,
West
my
just
goodness.
caught a break, though.
Yeah, I think he did right there because honestly, this is right there about that halfway point for guys to be able to go down and go ahead and get 4 fresh tires and fill it up full of fuel because that's what the limit is. So everybody's got to at least make one pit stop. Kevin West, wow, that's some Dale Earnhardt stuff right there, son. Just
Yeah.
go ahead and send it right through the grass. Don't even worry about it, son. What a move right there with Kevin West, but it did allow Jared Ziegler to slide back in, and then he goes off the racetrack as well. Ziegler ends up taking the lead, but it worked out well because Ziegler ends up making that pit stop. But back to what you were talking about, the road course racers. Think back to like Boris said. Think
Yep.
about to say, Juan Pablo Montoya. Granted, was he good at ovals? No, he wasn't. But he was decent at road courses because he knew how to get around the road courses. So those kind of guys that know how to do it. Big one that comes to mind right now is AJ Allmendinger, who does it today, knows how to get around these road courses, one of the best to do it himself. And granted, I may be a little bit biased here, but Martin Truex Jr. and Chase Elliott, they know how to get around them as well. But those guys that I'm talking about, you usually don't see them do a whole lot of stuff on the ovals. You usually see them guys come out. So there you see Kevin West, Quentin Stewart. They're actually going to go ahead and pit, but Kevin West is going to be at a huge disadvantage when he went through that grass right there. Ziegler's already made that pit stop. So this is going to get very, very interesting right here to see what happens when these guys come out of the pits. Ziegler's going to be long gone.
And Ziegler also a lap advantage on the pit stops. However, this track, right at the halfway point, you got to look at the tires overall, and I think you get about 1.5, 2 laps around this place. They're pretty much shot already, and at that point, you're just holding on as you see Joseph Terciano takes over the lead here in lap number 16. A lot of this field has spread out tremendously, Jacob.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually what you get with road courses. Everybody kind of gets spread out. Everybody's got their own little, I guess you could say, strategy. If you want to call it that, Bradley, honestly. I mean, everybody's got their own strategy and everything. And talking about the tires, how they wear out. Granted, if you look at the track temp right now, it's at 83 degrees. It's not necessarily cooking out there where you could throw a steak on it and go ahead and cook it, or some ribs in your matter. But, I mean, that's not high, to be able to cook tires. What's cooking these tires is these guys downshifting, getting in that gear to be able to try to gas up, take off. But what they're doing, they're spinning those back tires. And what that's doing is building heat in those tires, and that's what's going to end up causing tire wear. What's going to cause it in the front? Guys trying to slow down, guys trying to be able to make those braking points and be able to try to make those hard turns if need be. So that's how these guys is going to end up getting this tire wear. There you see Caleb Nelson already showing a lot of battle scars from throughout this race. He don't even have a front bumper. Usually, if that was at an oval, he would probably be overheating by now, and it would have probably already blew up, especially if he was at Talladega or Daytona, tucked right up behind somebody. It would have already went kapooey. So, but here at the road course, not necessarily a bad thing to not have a front bumper. I mean, you want to have your car intact going around the track, but if you end up having a little bit beaten up, banged up just a little bit, it's just basically like a short track at that point.
Little open wheel setup here for the 07, but Joseph Terciano, who has not hit pit road yet, he's just in front of Jared Ziegler. And remember, Kevin West had that little mistake. He's fallen back. He's about 4.5 seconds away from this battle for the lead. These two cars are gonna probably ration out. I think Terciano right now is kind of behind the 8 ball, if we're being honest, because when he comes down pit road, he's gonna be outside the top 15.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to end up being, but the thing about it is he's going to have the freshest tires out of the field. There you see Terciano going way, way wide. New leader in the 57, that is Jared Ziegler. And I talked about it a minute ago. Ziegler ended up going in early trying to leapfrog these guys of how it all worked out. He's got about a 7-second lead right now over Kevin West right now. Actually, make that a 4-second lead, so West is starting to kind of reel him in a little bit. Wilkin not too far behind him, and also Quentin Stewart as well. Quentin Stewart, he almost got caught up in that whole beating and banging, I guess you could say, with Galen Wunsch and Trent Wilkin. So he almost got caught up in it, and it almost ended that 19/24 night. But he's able to get around it, get himself up here in fifth, and he's got third and fourth right in front of him. Obviously, Terciano will have to make that pit stop. So Ziegler's really starting to kind of check out right here. What they need to do, Terciano, like you said, he's behind the 8 ball. He needs to go into pit as soon as he can. And what West and Wilkin and Stewart need to do, they need to hurry up, get around Terciano, and they need to run down Ziegler before he gets gone in a hurry.
Looking at the 12 of Wilkin. He's on pace here. Actually has one of the best laps, and he's fastest on the racetrack right now with a 1:18.653. He's on pace to catch up to these guys.
Yeah, he's on pace. I mean, he's been running some seriously fast lap times. Obviously, folks, he was the pole sitter, but you saw the little bit of left rear damage that he did have with the contact that we showed you a while ago in the hairpin turn 11. I mean, and you see him, I mean, he is absolutely driving the hell out of this car, trying to see if he can keep it straight. He's got this sucker sliding around, basically like he's on a go-kart track if you just sprayed a bunch of baby powder all over it. That's basically what that 12 car is driving this place around right now, trying to see if he can keep it going. The main thing about it, you got to be careful when you get on those rumble strips. You start to slide a little bit on those rumble strips, you can easily spin that car out, but Wilkin really making the best of what he's got. There you see we got another driver down. I believe that is Morgan Cook going to go ahead and make his pit stop. See some other guys actually ducking in, getting 4 fresh tires and filling it up full of fuel as well. But Wilkin really needs to try to get going. What he needs to do, in my opinion, granted, it's like we talked about earlier, I'm not a road course expert. I suck at them, but the way I would think you would want to be fast is not sliding around all over the place. You want to have as much grip as you possibly can in the wheels. So you're sliding them around, you're hurting the tires, and in that sense, you're costing yourself speed and costing yourself time. And I think that's how Ziegler is able to start to grow this gap a little bit. Wilkins keeping him honest, gained a half a second right there, but in the short amount of time that we got, 9 laps to go, he's going to have to do a whole lot more if he wants to catch that 57.
Well, that might be why we struggle as road racers. And everything you have as an instinctive driver, what would be grip or what might be burning up the tires. I've seen some guys drive around this place, and I just can't believe it. I can't understand it, nor do I want to understand it. I just know that I'm not that fast, and right now, if you're looking at the top 3, they're just pulling away from the rest of the field. Even Quentin Stewart just made a pass there for 3rd position around Joseph Terciano, which, by the way, the 83 is still out there. 20 laps on this stint. Ought to be stretching it out here at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he is. And there you see whoa, boy, Terciano almost went head first into the wall. He's going to slide into the clutches. Daniel Molnix, not too far back from him. Galen Wunsch back there trying to see if he can muster something up, get him a top 5. And now Terciano, I think he's already felt enough of the effects of the tires. He's going to go ahead and take that 83 and go into the pits. But, I mean, these guys literally, I mean, they're driving these cars as much as they are. And to your point, you was talking about guys that just unbelievably fast, just absolutely just ripping it all the way around this place. They either got a hack in this thing, or I hate to say it, they may, well, either that or I hate to say it, they got no life, because out of that, they're just straight up gifted at that point. I'm not gifted no way, shape, fashion, or form to run a road course. If I see a road course on the schedule, I just go ahead and basically just chalk it up as a DNF. If I'm lucky to get a top 10 out of it, I'll take a top 10 at a road course all day long.
They're just built different, Jacob. That's what they say. I mean, they're just built different.
Yes, you are 100% right. They are built completely different.
Went out here with Jared Ziegler, and you remember the mistake by the 1 of West, and he's fallen all the way out of the top 10. He's 2 laps down now. That car very fast. He's in the 118 still, and based off his position, he's about 4.5 seconds faster than the guys that he's competing with. However, disadvantage 2 laps down. Not exactly sure how he got this far down. Maybe some damage, but pushing it after the mistake before he hit pit road. And then you had several mistakes. There's another mistake there by a car off the racetrack, and I believe that was Mike Petrin. And yep, he's going off again, having some problems. A little slide there through the uphill. The bit of honey, number 60. There's so many different drivers out here that you see week to week that do so well on ovals. It kind of hurts to see him struggle here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like I was talking about. Basically, I mean, you know, it's a wild card here. I mean, there's some guys that can do it on the road courses. There's some guys that can't. It is what it is at that point, because some guys are not able to get the feel in the wheel. Some are not able to get the feel as far as shifting so much, being able to try to keep that egg up under the pedal and not crack it. And folks, what I mean by that, this is a good place to be able to bring up that analogy. Take an egg and put it up under your gas pedal in your vehicle at home. You put that egg up under the pedal, if you push down on the pedal too much, what's going to happen? You're going to crack the egg. These guys, they're running the same exact thing. It's basically throttle management, trying to be able to keep these cars there. You see Molnix, wow, he slid it in there big time. You saw the smoke come on the right front tire. But, I mean, that's one of these things that a lot of drivers they're not able to have as much as some of these other guys on the road courses, is the throttle management. So that's where you end up seeing that kind of stuff. As Petrin way off the track again. He's actually just going to stop right here in the grass. He's got his two teammates from Venom Motorsports, Molnix and Wunsch, going by right there. So Petrin really struggling here this evening, but he's been doing pretty good on the ovals throughout the season. So I think he's going to be, all right, because I believe this may be the only road course, I think, on the schedule. So I think Petrin, he's just going to take this one up as a L and go into next week in Kentucky.
Watching this battle, very close racing between the 199 of Galen Wunsch and Daniel Molnix in the number 4 position. And this is your points leader coming into today in the Xfinity Series. Daniel Molnix, kind of the captain of the mile-and-a-half racetracks, even the mile racetracks. I think right now, as far as oval racing goes, the 2 car is the one to beat.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the ovals goes, you know, Molnix, you got maybe Dirt Lash. You could throw McMurtry in there as well, even with Joyner. Joyner didn't have the best week last week at Charlotte. Actually got caught up in that big wreck that Bradley, I believe you was lucky enough to be able to escape that big wreck, but you wasn't able to escape getting right rear hooked into the wall. Hate to bring that up to you. But, I mean, he wasn't able to dodge that and everything. He put on a hell of a show when we went to Kansas for the QSR Xfinity Series. But, you know, he's comfortably right now sitting at 7th. He started 14th, that being Ronnie L. Joyner out there that you're riding on board with him right now. You know, a top, 7, top 10, I think would be a good night for him to be able to get some points. But still, Molnix being the captain, as you was talking about, of the ovals, coming out here slotted in P4, possibly a P3 if one of these guys up front end up screwing up somehow. He could find himself at a podium spot as well. And that's something a lot of these drivers may be looking at. Quentin Stewart probably may be looking at this going, wait a second, I don't want this right here. He's going to try to go out there and be as safe and possibly as he can, or try to drive it cleanly as he can, to try not to end up causing any more problems, to try to give Molnix more points leading on down the road, because the playoffs is a long way away, Bradley. They really are. They're a long way away, but you got to think ahead at that point, especially when you're thinking about points and a playoff and all that good stuff.
So as it sits right now, Jared Ziegler in the first position, pulling away 4 laps to go. Coming out of turn number 6, has a sizable lead. Trenton Wilkin is 4.5 seconds back. However, they are matching lap times. Your pole sitter chasing him down right now.
Yeah, I mean, there you saw it right there coming through the turn, just the back end still coming at him, and he is driving it for all it is worth. Going through the rumble strips, going around through the S's, coming down the back stretch, folks. We'll see if we can try to maybe get you a lap, kind of see how this ends up working out. It's obvious they are coming around with 3 laps to go. Just look how bumpy this is. Look how hard that this is going to be. But folks, what I want you to watch right here is Wilkins' wheel right here. When he goes into the corner, especially coming out of the corners, watch how this wheel is going to move around so much. So you already got it to the left. He is driving it. Literally, the back end's wanting to chase itself around. You see him coming through right here at the start-finish line, comes across the line, right past where the pits is, obviously up under the big old Toyota sign. That's the way I end up looking at it, going through the first 2 turns right here. Try to keep it straight. This right here is where the back end can get super happy. You see the wheel moving around. He's trying to keep it straight as much as he can, put down the fast lap. This is where it gets tricky, right here at the top of this hill. This is where the car can step out on you. That's where I've seen a lot of guys end up spinning out. And then also right here, where they was in practice, saw a big pile up when they ended up trying to start out a little bit on practice to see how they could end up doing at that. Then he drives in right here. Obviously, they're checking out. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. Stepping on the throttle just a little bit too much. Get that back end to come around. That right there, honestly, that is a wheelman right there to be able to pull that off, because not a lot of people can do that on a sim, much less in a real race car.
Well, you're essentially drifting on the exits of every one of these corners as he touches the rumble strips on the final turn. And you've got so many different instances. That's actually the third to last turn, but you got so many different instances of lines and how people get around this place. We can look on board with Ziegler. Really shallow entry into turn 1, and that actually sets you up for the uphill. I've tried to grasp this concept for a long time. 5.5 seconds, this guy's got it.
Yeah, I mean, Jared Ziegler, I mean, obviously with the accident that happened between Wunsch and Wilkin, he got caught up in that. He kind of stopped, maybe had a little bit of front end damage, had to back up and to be able to carry on, but he was able to continue and be able to get out here and get this 5.5 second lead. But I think what really got this right here was when Kevin West ended up overshooting through these S's right here, which is very, very difficult to try to get through, Bradley. We already saw it with West driving it through the grass, pulling some Dale Earnhardt stuff. It gets very, very tricky right here to be able to try to keep the car up under you. I think it maybe overstepped for West. He ended up driving it through the grass, but I mean, Ziegler's been doing a fantastic job to be able to just go ahead and just race the track, which is something we say a lot about with the Darlington Raceway. You can't race the competitors, you got to race the track. Ziegler basically got this sucker in hand coming to the white flag.
It's coming across the line for 1 lap to go. Britton Wilkin 4.8 seconds away from the leader. Overall, the top 5. Wilkin in second. Ziegler, obviously, as we're watching. Quentin Stewart, a good top 3 day as he comes out of turn 1. Daniel Molnix, minimizing the damage, but he is definitely under fire from Gillen Wunsch, and that is the 5th place driver. We have 5 cars out of the race here today. Morgan Cook, Marshall Newton, Waylon Turner, Austin Dowdy, and Condorian Davis in the number 19.
Absolutely, and you know, Wunsch and Molnix, they're still battling it out, but there you're riding, or you're seeing right there, Jared Ziegler, obviously the last lap. I mean, this is how you do it right there. Maybe even a little bit of a showboat right there. Had the back end kind of step out just a little bit right there. Maybe a little showboat for the fans here on V-Speed Network to go ahead and let everybody see exactly how to get it around here. There you see him going through the hairpin turn. He's got nothing between him right now but Barney the flagman, track, and himself coming off of the hairpin turn. Mr. Jared Ziegler, how do you do, sir? In the 57, there you see him wiggling as he goes past the line. Jared Ziegler will end up getting the win. Trenton Wilkin, he actually comes by. He's going to get second. Quentin Stewart, he's going to get third. And Molnix looks like he may end up holding off. Yes, he will. He will hold off Galen Wunsch for that 4th spot. Wunsch will get 5th.
So extended coverage here, and I apologize for the late start. Had a few little issues, technical glitches, gotta love it. However, the top 5 minimize the mistakes here today. Gillen Wunsch is going to get that top 5, 199. I mean, excellent drive by all these guys. We only saw that one big wreck that we went back and recapped. Outside of that, it was pretty quiet here and a very short and quick race for 28 laps.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you usually get. I mean, obviously, road courses, Bradley, they do put on an exciting show at certain times. But sometimes, you know, this is what you get. Get guys spread out, guys trying to use strategy to be able to try to worry about trying to just to drive their cars, like I was talking about, drive the track, be able to try to be there at the end and just survive, really, because that's your main goal, honestly, on this road course. There you see Ziegler. Screw it. Go ahead and burn it down, son. He's going to do it right there in the middle of where the last turn would be. Perfect place to go ahead and do it, to be honest with you. Wide open area. You ain't got to worry about hitting anything and, you know, end up tearing your car up, and then hopefully it will be able to pass tech. So Ziegler able to get it done right there. He's going to burn it down, obviously going through the front stretch. Ziegler, awesome drive. That may end up making him fail tech because he backed it in with the left rear. Just kidding around, Jared, but fantastic drive by Ziegler to be able to pull off and get the win here tonight.
Post-race interviews with your top 3. We're going to take a quick little break here while we round those drivers up. You're watching QSR's Xfinity Series live on V-Speed. We'll be back with more right after this.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Back here live from Sonoma. That quick short stint of 28 laps for the QSR Xfinity Series has concluded. Your winner here today, Jared Ziegler, putting it on in good fashion. We had quite a few competitors at the start of this race. We kind of missed part of this broadcast, but Kevin West He was up for a lot of it. Trenton Wilkin, who started on the pole, well, he gets bested, falls back to second. Final results up on the screen here. Quentin Stewart with a top 3 here today. Daniel Molnix in the 4th position. We have Galen Wunsch in the 5th spot. Dirk Likes in 6th. Ronnie Joyner 7th. Derek McMurtry in 8th. Joseph Terciano is going to finish 9th. And Caleb Nelson is going to round out your top 10.
And Brent Allen is going to get 11th. CJ Gates finishing in 12th. Reed Sanders will get 13th. Clay Nelson 14th. There you see Kevin West right there. Started 4th. Ends up finishing 15th. Heartbreaker for last week's winner, Kevin West. Mike Peacham will end up finishing 16th. Ethan Wisnowski will get 17th. Spencer Johnson will get 18th. Morgan Cook gets 19th. And Marshall Newton rounds out the top 20.
One more group of cars to come up on this screen. You have Waylon Turner in the 21st position, Austin Dowdy, Condorian Davis. A lot of these cars, it looked like, didn't elect to even grid. Austin Dowdy, 25 laps down. Condorian Davis, 31 laps, not physically possible here today, so not really sure. We had a lot of problems here today, but ultimately, I think the guy that had the least amount of problems was the 57, and that's Jared Ziegler. But first, we're going to bring up your 3rd place finisher here today, and that would be the number 24, Quentin Stewart. And I believe Quentin Stewart is down there with Jake Reeves on pit road.
Absolutely. Got Quentin Stewart up here in the V-Speed Racing Network. And Quentin, I mean, this is what you needed right here tonight, at least if, from what it felt like in my point. You needed to be able to have a good solid night. You come home 3rd. Tell us about your race, buddy.
Yeah, I'm honestly worn out after that one. They had the top 3 had that incident, I think, on lap 6 or 7. I got a little bit of wheel damage trying to get through all that carnage. Kevin got in an accident later, so it was just a lot of chaos going on the whole event. But yeah, working with wheel damage the whole race. Then on top of that, in pit road, I only put on left side tires, so I was fighting that thing to finish this up, man. It was a fun one though. I really enjoyed Sonoma. So
Well, that makes one of us. No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying because I'm not a big fan of road courses. But I mean, Quentin. I mean, we look at this battle that we're seeing, so far with the point standings and everything, and obviously, you was able to best Daniel Molnix, who's basically, me and Bradley, we talked about. He's basically just been lighting everything on fire, pretty much. But you was able to get the best of him here tonight. Is there a possibility that this could be a run for Quentin Stewart to be able to get some momentum and start trying to get out there and start to try to beat some of these guys like Molnix and Likes and Joyner and McMurtry? Is this what we may end up seeing here in the near future?
yeah, well, I knew this race was going to be a big opportunity because I knew all the Venom Motorsports guys. They're more oval based than road course based. No offense to them, they're all amazing. So I knew tonight was going to be a good opportunity to maybe get a little bit extra points if we could. We'll see what happens. Where do we go next week? Shoot.
Kentucky,
I
I
Oh
think.
no, I don't know. I wouldn't look out for me next week. I've never put down laps there, but after that, you guys can watch out for me. Yeah, but Monix and all those guys, they've had a hot season so far. So I knew tonight would be a good opportunity to get a little one up on them. So it was nice to finish in front of Monix and Joyner and all those guys. So y'all, maybe not next week, but the week after.
All righty. Well, Quentin Stewart ends up finishing 3rd. And Quentin, before we let you go, buddy, you got anybody that you want to thank, sponsors, shout outs for making this possible?
Yeah, well, first of all, I got to thank V-Speed. Of course, you guys always do a great job. Got to thank all of the guys here at QSR. That's Chris Nail, Carter Lenz, Jeremy Burns, Tyler Harrison, Austin Dowdy, and Ronnie Joyner. All the guys at Venom Motorsport, they do an amazing job. They really have helped us, foster this Xfinity League and make it all work. So thank you to all those guys, and thank you to you guys again for another great broadcast.
All righty, Quentin Stewart, we appreciate your time, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
3rd place finisher, Quentin Stewart in the number 24, on the roll here. Let's see if he can carry that momentum into next week at Kentucky. Second place finisher now. I moved down with Trenton Wilkin in the number 12. And I know it's probably a little frustrating here today, Trenton, that you started on the pole. You had really good positioning. It just seemed like maybe the pit stops didn't quite pan out. You had a little bit of a fallback there, a little mistake during race time that put you in a bad situation.
Yeah, I feel like we had a fast car out there. Coming to when I got spun out that lap, I messed up the S's coming into the hairpin. I think that kind of just gave him a good positioning, and how I was cutting the hairpin coming off of it. I think that just messed up the rest of it. Besides that, it was good to come back from all the way back to come in. Try to hopefully catch them because we still had some good speed with still some damage. But in the end, I think we got a good run. Hopefully, we can have a good rest of the season. Hopefully, good at Kentucky next.
Well, Trenton, it's good to see your name up here. We got a lot of new names in here tonight. A lot of people that aren't normally near the top five in this finishing. We had Jared Ziegler here, obviously. Was there anything that you could have done to chase him down? I know the gap kind of grew and shrank in those last 10 or so laps. Was there anything you could have done differently to catch up to him?
I think if we possibly pitted a lap earlier, where we came out after the pit stop, it kind of just he was kind of in front of me by like 3 seconds. Then I had to pass two cars and I just let it grow. Maybe if I would have pitted earlier, maybe a little less mistakes in braking zones. But I was pushing the car to the limits, drifting it, trying to lay down as fast as lap times as I could. I think I ran one of my fastest lap times after the incident towards the end of the race with like probably like 6 to go or so.
And I believe Jacob Reeves has a question for you as well.
Yeah, I mean, Trenton, I kind of wanted, just to kind of ask you about this. I mean, obviously, we saw the contact over in turn 11 between you and Galen Wunsch. I'm just curious. I mean, is there beef between both of y'all guys on that? Because it looked like it was just kind of a racing incident where he kind of stuck it in there. Maybe it was maybe a little bit too aggressive. I was just wanting to get your thoughts on that. If there's beef between you and Galen after that whole incident.
Oh, possible we'll talk about it. We'll see how it ends up. I know how I'll react, and I'll probably race him a little bit harder when I'm around him because that's way too early for that to be happening. We had in practice and in qualifying, we were like 4 to 5 tenths faster than the field. And I think if we would have just kept it clean ourselves, I think it would have just been a battle between us two. And that pit stop could have been the tell time, the telling of who would have won or whatever with it. Maybe next time just he should probably be less aggressive with like 5 laps into a race.
All right, well, go ahead, Bradley.
Well, I mean, he said it right there. It's just a little aggression. I mean, race cars being race cars, that's what they do. And, sometimes you think you have a hole or maybe an opportunity. We've all been there, but Trenton, I want you to be here and thank the people that you have in mind for this amazing finish here today.
Well, let me thank my wife for letting me, get some time to actually be practicing this week. Thank QSR. It's one of my first or second leagues I've been in, and I'm having a great time with it, especially the community, everything with it, especially you guys broadcasting, big part of this as well. PNC Bank, they ain't a real sponsor, but Midwest Mindset, come sponsor your boy. I'll be here.
Checks in the mail, they said.
That's right.
Well, Trent, we thank you for your time, buddy, and shout them out every week, and maybe something a little magic. Never say never. We thank you, and we'll see you next week at Kentucky.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's Trenton Wilkin, your second place finisher here today at Sonoma. Finally, moving up rather. We have Jared Ziegler. He is our pole finisher of the night, and we have Jacob Reeves with our winner in victory lane.
Absolutely. Finally, we're going to go ahead and bring Mr. Jared Ziegler up here in the booth. And Jared, I mean, I mean, you done a fantastic job tonight, buddy. You was able to get the win. But we saw the contact up there at the lap 5 point between Trenton and Galen. Obviously, you kind of got caught up in that right there. Just wanted to kind of get your take on the first thing that you thought about when it happened, and then after that, your take on how everything went throughout the race.
I don't think my initial reaction is family friendly, so I'm not gonna say it. But I got a little flustered there. I thought I was gonna lose a lot more time than I actually did. The 12 actually got out of my way pretty quickly, surprisingly, for having two cars sideways in the exit of the corner right there. Uh, I got a little bit of nose damage there. I had like 30 seconds of optional or something, but I knew road course it's not really gonna matter too much, especially in these things. Um, but once we got back going, I was like, well, I don't know the pace of the 1 and the 24, but I was just hoping I can manage and uh, maybe undercut them and do whatever you got to do on the road course to pass. And I started going again, and I didn't really lose any speed. So I'm like, well, race kind of went pretty smoothly after that. It took me a minute to get past the 19 and to catch the 1, but as soon as I got to the 1, I immediately pit and just kind of coasted away at that point. So I don't know. It would have been a really good race if the 199 and 12 didn't have any incident there. I kind of wish that they didn't because it would have been a much more interesting race, more strategy involved. But I don't know. I'll take it. I'll take an easy win. I love Sonoma. This was my first time ever racing here, so this has shot up my favorite track list by far. So I'm looking forward to coming here again at some point. If we want to put this on next season, I fully approve.
Well, I mean, I would too. I mean, if you get out there and you ain't never been there and you end up winning, hell, I'd be the same way. But I mean, but Jared, I'm looking at the point standings, and obviously, I'm not seeing it updated. I'm just seeing as far as Charlotte goes. From the end of Charlotte, you're currently sitting 19th in the points. You only really got two starts in the season. A lot of guys got four, some got three. However you want to look at it. I believe you were more, I guess you could say, more or less one of the newer guys to come into this. Is there a possibility that we may end up seeing some momentum shift toward Jared Ziegler's way to have a shot trying to run for a championship later this season?
Oh, I sure hope so. I know, like I said, I started late. I was two races late entering the season, so I'm on the back foot already. But Vegas, I came out and I believe I finished third there. I was battling for the win in the final laps, so had some really good run there. Charlotte, I got caught up in my own incident, so that kind of hurt me a little bit. But now after winning Sonoma here, I'm sure I can shoot up the leaderboard just that much more. It's just clawing away to trying to get in that top 12. I don't know if we have a win and end system here, but I'm just going to assume not. It's going to be a long, hard battle to get into the top 12, but that's definitely my goal. I feel like now that I have a win under my belt, I haven't been out of the Xfinity cars for a long time, so this will definitely build my confidence coming into Kentucky next week. So we're hoping for a pretty good result. My teammates, on the other hand, they both had pretty poor results, so well, you got to work on with them a little bit and trying to get them a little bit of my momentum and trying to get us all three in the playoffs.
We'll see what happens. Mr. Jared Ziegler gets the win tonight. And Jared, before we let you go, you got any shout outs, sponsors, anybody for making it happen here tonight at Sonoma?
I'd like to thank both of my teammates, Caleb Nelson, who finished P10 today, and Marshall Newton. His VR went out right on the grid, so he didn't finish too well. He finished down on P20. Thank both of them. They both pushed me in practice, hosted a few practices over the week. I'd like to thank Marshall Arts. It's Marshall's company. He does custom paint schemes for people and actually does custom die casts as well. So if you're interested, please contact him on Trading Paints or iRacing. I don't think he has the official website yet, but I'm sure he'll be getting on that soon. Of course, QSR for putting on the league. It's been fun. I've only done this 3 races now, but it's been a blast all 3 races. I have not had a Xfinity league be this clean in a long time. So it's definitely been a blast. And of course, you guys for putting on a show. I can't wait to go back and watch broadcast probably tomorrow. I'm probably going to go and take a nap. So
Awesome stuff. Well, Mr. Jared Ziegler gets the win tonight. Congratulations on the win. We'll see you next week. And Jared, real quick, go ahead and get with Caleb. Let him know that we know where his front bumper is, because we saw he was basically
Oh.
driving a modified earlier. So we know where we know where the bumper is. Just tell him to holler at us, and we'll get him that bumper to him.
Yeah, I also need to go find him and apologize to him because that was the same lap that the 199.12 had the incident, and I screamed, and when I screamed, he locked up the brakes, and I wrecked him without even being near him. So I need to go find him and apologize. I will definitely get on him and say that you guys found his front bumper, and I'll send you his address so you can send it back to him.
Yep, we'll FedEx it to him. No problem. All right, Jared, appreciate your time. Congratulations on the win. We'll see you next week, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good one.
That was your winner here today, Jared Ziegler in the number 57, and I still can't believe what he just said. First time out here on Sonoma, and he did that. I've been driving Sonoma for about 11 years, and I don't know about you, Jake, but I still haven't figured it out.
No, I mean, I haven't figured it out neither, and at this point, I've got to where I probably won't ever figure it out. I mean, Watkins Glen and the Roval, basically, they're about the best road courses to me. Obviously, there is very harder road courses. Think about Nürburgring. If you want to take an Xfinity car
I don't
and
wanna
go
think
try
about
the
that.
Nürburgring, yeah, the 11 mile, 112 mile, however the hell long it is, that would be something I would never even try, because I just wouldn't want to do it. But Bradley, we're going to get back to it. We're going to get back to some oval racing next week. The Bluegrass State at Kentucky Speedway. I cannot wait for that. I got a little bit of bourbon calling my name up there.
Oh man, I tell you what, I hope you guys enjoyed here tonight. I know we had some technical issues, a few little glitches in the system. However, next Tuesday at 8 o'clock, that's Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Hope you guys can join us for Kentucky Speedway. More of the familiar drivers out here on the racetrack. And, you know, Daniel Monix has had a stellar season, had a great string of top fives. He's going to look to put it together one more time next Tuesday. But for everybody here at V-Speed that makes it possible, Adam Baker that presses all the buttons in the background, my co-commentator of the season, Jacob Reeves, who's done a phenomenal job. This is Bradley Cooper telling you guys to have a great rest of your week, and hopefully we get it all back together and get it grouped back up for next Tuesday. Until then, everybody, have a great rest of your week. We'll see you tomorrow night for Wednesday Racing Revolution and Overtake iRacing League Cup Series.